It's a beautiful day here at Royal Sussex Squad, and today we have some things to unpack, my friends. Once again, the usual suspects are hard at work, doing what they do best. Spinning stories and slinging mud at Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but guess what? We see right through it. And today, we're going to take this article, and we're going to drag it into the light where it belongs. So, over the weekend, Roya Nika, one of Prince William's favorite little palace mouthpieces, decided to bless us with yet another tired article in the Times. The headline? The King's freeze on Prince Andrew and Prince Harry has backfired. And right there, before you even get into the meat of the article, you know where this is going. It's the same playbook they've been using since 2019. When Andrew's scandals start boiling over again, what does the palace and the British media do? They immediately launch attacks against Harry and Meghan to distract the public. Virginia Giuffre's tragic death hit the news cycle, and suddenly, boom! Sussex smear pieces everywhere. Convenient, isn't it? And let's be clear, this is not just lazy journalism, this is calculated, this is weaponized. Every single time Prince Andrew's grotesque past comes roaring back into public consciousness, the Sussexes somehow end up getting dragged into it. As if speaking out for your own family's safety, standing up to a racist and abusive institution and seeking freedom is even remotely comparable to Andrew's decades-long scandals involving minors. How dare they even attempt to draw a parallel? But Roya Nika tried to put a new little twist on the old moldy storyline this time. She suggests, now, hold on to your hats, that King Charles might want to actually speak to Prince Harry, if only to keep tabs on him. You heard that right. Not to rebuild a relationship with his son, not to reconnect with his beautiful grandchildren, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. No, just to keep tabs. Like some kind of surveillance operation. How utterly despicable. And honestly, let's not pretend Charles doesn't already have people watching Harry and Meghan full-time. You think that monarchy, with all its billions, isn't spending a fortune keeping tabs on Montecito? Please. Charles doesn't have the decency to pick up the phone and check in on his son battling media abuse, or to wish his grandchildren a happy birthday, but best believe he's funding secret reports about their every move. This article makes it plain. When it comes to Andrew, the human embodiment of scandal, Charles is eager to have him over for breakfast after church. He's allowed at family gatherings. He's strolling the Balmoral grounds like he owns the place. Meanwhile, Prince Harry, who committed the crime of marrying the woman he loves and choosing happiness over hate, is cast out, lied about, and painted as a villain. It's beyond disgraceful. Think about it. Andrew actively tried to smear Virginia Giuffre again after settling with her for millions of pounds in hush money. And still, Buckingham Palace is bending over backwards to shield and embrace him. Meanwhile, Harry, who literally served his country in Afghanistan, who set up Invictus for wounded veterans, who's raised millions for charity, he's the one being frozen out. No Christmas invites, no Balmoral visits. Not even a phone call when his father was diagnosed with cancer. That tells you everything you need to know about the moral compass at Buckingham Palace. And then Roya tries to lecture us, saying Charles should also keep tabs on Harry like he's doing with Andrew. That Harry's stubbornness is some kind of threat. No, Roya, no British press, no palace courtiers. Harry's stubbornness is called courage. Harry's so-called stubbornness is him standing up to centuries of cruelty and injustice in that institution. Harry is stubborn because he refuses to let the next generation, Archie and Lilibet, grow up under the same toxic conditions he did. Harry isn't a threat, he's a mirror, and that's what they hate. He reflects back to them their own failure, their own rot, their own hypocrisy. And Meghan shines a light so bright that it blinds them, and they will never forgive her for surviving the abuse they tried to drown her with. Now about Charles, let's not sugarcoat it. Despite what Roya Nika and the royalist media try to spin, Charles does not care. If he did, he would have picked up the phone himself. He would have reached out to Harry personally when his cancer diagnosis came through. Instead, Harry found out like the rest of us, through the newspaper headlines. Imagine how that must feel. Your own father, the King of England, can't even send you a private message, but he's cozying up to Prince Disgrace Andrew at every opportunity. There's no out of sight, out of mind here. There's only cruelty. There's only punishment for daring to break free. And it's important we say it loud and clear. Harry and Meghan owe that family nothing, not an ounce of loyalty, not an ounce of deference, because loyalty is earned, respect is earned, and when a family, blood or not, chooses abuse, manipulation, and indifference over love and protection, you walk away, you build your own family, and that's exactly what Harry and Meghan have done. They have created a home of love, joy, and peace in Montecito. They have built a life centered around philanthropy, service, and hope. And that's why they are so hated by the tabloids and courtiers. Because Harry and Meghan are thriving. They are proof that you don't have to stay and suffer, you can leave, and you can live. Meanwhile, the royal family clutches their pearls as their own house crumbles from within. Andrew is a walking scandal. William is, well, let's just say there's a reason they're obsessed with hiding his secrets. And Charles is a king in name only, unable to heal the wounds in his own family, too petty to reach across a phone line to his own son. So, to Roya Nika, to the British media, to Buckingham Palace, we see you. We see the desperate attempts to drag Harry and Meghan down to distract from your own mess. But, it's not working anymore. The world is watching. The world knows the truth. Harry and Meghan have already won. Nika. King Charles should speak to Prince Harry, if only to keep tabs on him over the weekend. The Times royal editor Roya Nika, a favorite of Prince William, had a very odd column. The King's freeze on Prince Andrew and Prince Harry has backfired. Suddenly we're back in 2019 and every time there's a shitty story about Prince Andrew, the papers immediately attack the Sussexes. 6 years later they're still running the same old tired play. I'm just saying it wasn't surprising that in the same news cycle where we learned of Virginia Giuffre's suicide, there were tons of attack pieces on the Sussexes. Nika's piece was a slightly new twist to the storyline because she suggests that King Charles might want to actually speak to Prince Harry, if only to keep tabs on Harry's movements. Don't be silly, Roya. I'm absolutely positive that the king has hired people to keep tabs on the Sussexes full-time. Some highlights from this piece: Andrew kept trying to trash Virginia Giuffre. Andrew and the royal family hoped that the multi-million-pound settlement he agreed with Giuffre in 2022, without admitting liability, had closed the door on the scandal. But the Duke, eternally obstinate and self-righteous, couldn't quite leave it alone and attempted to trash her reputation again as recently as 2023, when a friend of his told me Andrew believed the unsealing of legal documents involving Giuffre would demolish her story and clear his name. It didn't happen. Imagine thinking it was a good idea to try to smear Giuffre again after settling with her. Despite the settlement, the Duke, and by association the royal family, can never escape this saga. BP tries to conflate Andrew and the Sussexes. Buckingham Palace adopted the mantra, "The Duke of York is no longer a working member of the royal family." It's a phrase the palace has wearily repeated for many of the controversies from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, since they left these shores 5 years ago for their shiny new life in California. But how is that tactic working out for the monarchy, Your Majesty? By keeping the defrocked princes at such an arm's length, he has ensured one stumbled into the path of an alleged Chinese spy and can never escape his murky past, while the other wages war on the media, criticizes his kin for not joining the crusade, and continues to battle with His Majesty's government and courts over his security in the UK. That means the king, who is 76 and still receiving weekly cancer treatment, has not seen his younger son for more than a year, nor his 2 grandchildren, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, for nearly 3 years. That must surely be suboptimal for both Charles and Harry. Charles should keep tabs on his brother. Is a change of tack needed? Andrew's Easter jaunt with the family may signal Charles has clocked that instead of trying to turf his brother out of Royal Lodge, he should keep tabs on him over a cup of English breakfast after church. It's preferable to discovering his latest mishap from another heap of embarrassing headlines. Those always distract from the rest of the family's public work, which is one of Charles's pet hates. Charles should keep tabs on Harry too. Let's be clear. Harry is certainly no Andrew, though they share a stubbornness that raises hackles in the royal fold. If Charles is changing course with Andrew, he could also try giving it a go with Harry, who has let it be known that calls to Pa go unanswered, and he now learns about his father's health from the newspapers. But if the king doesn't want to be surprised and upstaged by the self-styled spare, as he was when Harry unexpectedly popped up in court and in Ukraine this month, while Charles was beavering away on his Italian state visit, then he should give thought to answering the odd California call, if only to find out what his second son has brewing in the Montecito pipeline. Arm's length isn't working. Of course, it is all so much easier said than done when there are years of accumulated hurt and mistrust on both sides. As any of us with tricky families know all too well, breaking the out-of-sight, out-of-mind cycle is rarely, if ever, appealing, but Charles would do well to stay more in the loop with Andrew, however unpalatable it may be, because keeping the Duke of Hazard at arm's length clearly hasn't worked. It isn't working with Harry either. The thing is, I've always got the sense that Charles does speak to Andrew, and not just in the keeping tabs way. Andrew is still welcomed at family events. Andrew stayed at Balmoral last summer, and he probably will go there again this summer. And despite the public posturing, it's clear that Andrew and Charles are mostly fine with each other. It's a different story altogether between Charles and the Sussexes. Charles does not give a sh*t about Harry, Meghan, or the children. He does not care about their safety, he does not want to see them, and he doesn't want them in the UK whatsoever. He doesn't even care enough to keep tabs on them at a personal level, and he would prefer if Harry simply spoke to staff. Charles treats his younger son worse than his human trafficking brother. Before we wrap up, if you appreciate what we're doing here, standing up for Harry and Meghan, speaking the truth and cutting through the media spin, please make sure you subscribe to Royal Sussex Squad. Hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and if you'd like to support the channel even further, consider leaving a super thanks. It helps keep independent voices like ours going strong. Thank you so much for being part of this amazing community. Stay kind, stay curious, and as always, we've got Harry and Meghan's backs. See you next time, squad.